Well, good afternoon. This is Jim Whitehead. Today I am All Power Group and Phoenix Animal, and you're looking at Christian. Now, I know if you were sitting there and you didn't know him, you'd be like, why is he walking right at me? But thank goodness we have movies and shows, and we know that we're okay. Anyway, this is a great story about Christian the lion and two wonderful people that helped him. And you'll see again how people love animals and they treat animals in the utmost appreciation. They love them and they show them that every day. So this is one of the most famous animals that brought immense joy to the world. It is Christian the lion. His story is not only heartwarming, but a perfect example of how an animal can inspire love, compassion, and or around the globe. Now this is, you see little Christian, and what was interesting is two humans that I'll introduce in a minute. It doesn't really say how and why, but they're in England, and they end up adopting Christian, the little lion cub. And what's interesting is, and this is kind of one of the points I like to talk about, he grew up in a city. Now he's inside a big store. And as we progress, you'll see, as long as someone is there to love the animal and help the animal and have it where you demonstrate that you like them being with you, they will go almost anywhere. So here's little Christian. He's grown up a little bit, but he's in a store. And I don't know, he might be saying, what are we going to buy today? I hope some food. But anyway, that's what he's there for. Now, these are his two benefactors, who raised him as a cub. And you saw him in a London store in the late 1960s. I enjoyed the 60s. And I know in my stories, I probably shouldn't, but I go off on tangents occasionally. But of course, I grew up in the 60s. I was already about 13 years old. And of course, the Beatles and, Dave Clark 5 and those Rolling Stones, those were good times. And I'm not saying in general, since I'm 76, that it was only good times then. Admittedly, we're not in good times right now, but I pray every day that we're going to be back in good times again. The two young men that you see, one is John Rendall, and the other one is Anthony, short name Ace, Bork, were the owners of the store, and when they saw Christian, they decided to buy him. And I know you're probably saying, you can actually buy lion cubs? I know we're all going to be running out at the end of this episode, and you're going to try to buy a lion cub. At the time, it was not uncommon for people to keep exotic pets, and so Christians spent the early days in their care, living in a large shop space, being treated like a family member. You know, and I tell you about Jamie. She's my almost 11-year-old Shih Tzu, and she's family. I love my wife, but I love Jamie so much. I just can't even say. So I would be the one that would certainly get a lion cub, as long as they could be taken care of, and you know, it's not against local laws. And I'm not even sure. I'm in Naples, Florida. I'm not sure if somebody said, "Hey, the Whiteheads have a lion cub." Luckily, where we are in Naples, we're out in the woods in a way. It's called Golden Gate, and it's neat. The trees are tall. We have what they call pine scrub, and we are in the woods. We have rabbits and bears and panthers, and you know, I have rabbits I take care of here. And I didn't buy the rabbits. These are rabbits that said, "Hey, Jim is going to feed us." So I have rabbit food, and I put out, and I talk to them, and I know they're a little afraid of me, and I know that's good. You don't want them to get too comfortable with humans because, well, I love them. I wouldn't hurt them if somebody put a gun to my head, but you just never know. So anyway, moving on. They took him for walks in the streets of London, and he became somewhat of a local celebrity. And I understand that, you know. And look at Christian. He's like, "Hey, I'm king of this. I'm the king of London." Can't be king of the jungle, but in this case, king of London. So, anyways, as Christian grew bigger, it became clear that he wasn't going to be happy in a city environment. And, you know, again, when you love animals and you realize something's wrong or you can't take care of the animal, you know, if you love that animal, you will do what it takes to make sure they're okay and they're happy. So anyway, the lion needed to return to the wild, and so John and Ace made the decision to take him to Africa. And there he is. They enlisted the help of a George Adamson, a renowned conservationist who had been working with rehabilitating lions for reintroduction into the wild in Kenya. So here they are, and they're saying, "Look, you know, we had him in the big city of London. We realize, even though he loves us, that wasn't really the best thing for him." Now, the big concern, of course, is when an animal is domesticated and you say, "Well, I'm going to put him back to to their wild state," and in this case, taking Christian to Africa, you would worry that since he's used to being taken care of, is he going to be okay on his own? Well, they were smart enough to get this gentleman, you can see on the right, who knows and works with all different types of animals to, in cases like this, reintroduce them into the wild environment. So that's what they're doing here. Now, what's neat is they arranged for Christian to be released into the wild where he could live in a reserve and be free to roam. Now, Here's where the story takes an incredibly touching turn. A year after his release, and you can see what I'm going to say next, John and Ace returned to Kenya to see how Christian was doing. Despite having been living wild for a year, when Christian saw them again, he recognized them and immediately ran up to them to say, "Hey, I love you, and boy, have you made me have a special day with me being in my neat environment, but I have someone now again that loved me and raised me from a little cub." Anyway, these reunions, they captured it on film. And, in the video, Christian runs toward John with joy and affection. And, I know you've said how many times you're going to see it over and over, but it's one thing that's great. He's leaping on them and embracing them with such enthusiasm that it's clear he remembers his old friends. It's an extraordinary moment where this lion, who had been wild for months, still held a deep bond with the humans who had raised him. The affection and trust between them were basically undeniable, and the video went viral, captivating people worldwide. It became a symbol of the deep connection that can exist between humans and animals, even when those animals are wild. Now, the person that was helping with getting Christian back into his wild state, he works with, a society for conservation, and this sparked a global awareness about the emotional intelligence of animals and the importance of conservation efforts. The footage showed that Christian not only survived in the wild, but thrived, and it sent a powerful message about the possibility of rehabilitation for animals that were once captive. Christian's story is an incredible reminder that animals, even those considered wild, are capable of forming deep, meaningful relationships with humans. It also highlighted the importance of respecting the natural world and the need to give animals the freedom to live as they should. John and Ace, moved by their experience with Christian, went on to become advocates for animal conservation. And Christian himself remains a symbol of hope, love, and the power of the bond between humans and animals. His story continues to bring joy and inspiration to people everywhere, showing us that love knows no boundaries, even between humans and wild animals. Anyway, I hope you enjoy these little short stories. It's just as wonderful, and animals are wonderful. We should learn a lot from animals. And in this world today, maybe that's one reason why I do the animal channel is admittedly it's what we would describe as G-rated. And some would go, I like shooting and all types of havoc that's going on. But I have made sure most of the time, I admit I dipped occasionally into the strange political arena that makes no sense. And the neatest thing, as I said, it's, what's happening around us today, it makes no sense. But animals are true to who they are. They're smart. They have great intelligence. But they have instincts. And that can be where maybe a lion will say, I'm afraid of you, somebody new and yada, yada, yada. But they will not go after just because they're mean and they want to hurt you. If they don't know you and they're maybe a little afraid or they don't know your intentions, they certainly will protect themselves. And especially if they've got family with them, in this case, baby, lion cubs, they would make sure that their cubs are taken care of and protected. Anyway, I want to thank you very much for being here. I love doing these. Admittedly, again, I see a lot on YouTube that just makes you almost sick to your stomach. And what I've been doing lately with my YouTube, when I am watching YouTube, I use YouTube for a lot of different things besides my own channels. In essence, and it's not beating up on YouTube, but when I have so many clickbait-oriented political stories that they're just there to clickbait you into clicking on their video, and you don't know whether it's true or untrue. So what I do now, you can down in the lower right on any video that you're looking at, or you could look at it. Down in the lower right hand corner is 3 dots, and within that, it will give you a choice of what you can do with that particular channel, not just that video, but that channel. And there's one like saying, I'm not interested in this, but that doesn't really do very much. But the next one down says, you in essence say, don't show me this channel anymore, or don't show anything from this channel to me anymore. So I'm doing that daily so that when I go on, because I admit when you see something as a clickbait saying the world is coming to an end in 2 hours, now you're going to go, oh, wow, the world is coming to an end, and you click on that and you find some either it's not even remotely related to the topic, or it's just, that they just put that in to grab you and get you to watch the video. That said, I don't get it because, if I go into a video that before I started clicking these off, I would immediately say, wait a minute, this is not what the thumbnail is telling. Some say, oh, your thumbnails are so important. Well, they are. And I probably don't do the best thumbnails, but at least they're honest. It's not like, I'm going to tell you like this lion just, fell off the earth. I mean, it's a good story. It's a true story. And there's a little, what we call poetic license sometimes with pictures and images, etc. But it's true, it's real, and it's G-rated. But anyway, thank you for being here, and just, leave any comment, please. I love comments. Anyway, thank you. Please be well. And I pray every night for everybody in the world, but even more so, all the folks that are certainly without any of their doing, are having financial, if I was on the street and I started speaking Spanish, they might think I'm from, I'm from the, I'm going to be deported. That's just, I've been here 76 years, and yeah, we've had our ups and downs, but not to the extent where every day the ICE are apprehending large numbers of people that some of them, yeah, they might be not good people, but a lot of them are good people, and it's just not fair. But again, I'm just about done, and I appreciate it. Please take care, and if you can, subscribe. Thank you.